Hello everyone, this is Norcda Childa here, and welcome back to another 3 Tips Thursday. I have not made one in so long, guys, because of school. I apologize. It's just school has been so busy. I've forgotten about it some weeks. Other weeks I've had so much work, and I really have worked hard to get it out this week. I had a lot of work this week, but I just, grinded it out and made this video. But today we're going to talk about move triggers. Move triggers, are one of the new 2.0 triggers. I mean, I guess not really new because 2.0 has been out for over a year. I'm robbed up. Excuse me, I had a bit of a respiratory malfunction right there. Anyway, move triggers are essential in a lot of new 2.0 aesthetics. A level that has a lot of move triggers opposed to a level that doesn't will really differentiate the detail and the overall pleasing ability of the level and how the level plays out and all that stuff. Move triggers change all of that. So, I've made a level called Move Triggers, quite an original name. But once inside, I have a few things set up already, but I would like to show you the first tip first. So the first tip about move triggers, I'm just going to, show you guys basically all the essentials of move triggers. So, when you place your move trigger, edit it, and go to Edit Object over here. This will bring up the Setup Move Command window with all this stuff. You can use the Info button, but it's kind of a little bit cryptic in some places. But move a target group 10 points equals 1 grid step. So if I put in 10 for move X, it will move 1 grid step to the right, for example. So I guess if you do 1, it's like 1/10 of a grid step. Move commands stack, which is like if you have multiple of the same trigger on the same group, it'll like stack up on each other. And lock to player X and Y will make the blocks move the same speed as the player for the set duration, and easily modifies the movement acceleration. So firstly, we have the move X command. If you guys have taken math, which most of you have, I mean I don't know how young you guys are, but on a graph or a grid, the x-axis is from left to right, and the y-axis is from up to down. So X, if we moved something X, it would move left or right, Y up or down. So let's place a block here really quickly. And let's set that to group 1. Hit edit group, and next for you, just 1, add 1. Now, in order for the move trigger to be paired with this block, we have to set the move trigger to also group 1. So group 1 modifies a group 1 entity, I guess. The move trigger for group 1 modifies a group 1 block. So, if we move this block 10 on the x-axis, well, let's see what happens when we play the level. You can see the block just moved 1 grid step to the right. Now let's say we wanted to move it y. Now it moves 1 block up. There. Simple as that. Now if you want to move it left or down, you do -10. So instead of it moving right this time, it'll move left. And vice versa with Y, it will move down instead of up. There we go. So, now that we have all this, you can also combine the coordinates. So let's say you want to move it 10 and 10. It will move 10 over to the right, 10 up. It's really like math on a graph or something, if you have like coordinates and it's like move 1 over 1 up, it's like that, So you can do like 100 and 50 blocks. That's like 5 blocks, but like 50, so it'll move like that. You can combine any amount of numbers that you want in order for your level to work. Now we have these lock to player X and lock to player Y. The info section mentioned this a little bit, but lock to player X, when we go over the trigger, it's just going to follow the movement of the player. So let me actually set the time for a little bit longer so you guys can see this. As you can see, it just follows the speed of the player. No matter what I do, it's just going to keep following. Now, if I do that for Y, it'll stay on the Y-axis. Actually, wait, hold on. No, I have to do... What do I have to do to make this work? I have to put it like here. Yeah. Oh, wait, no, never mind. It was good before, it just wasn't moving. So it actually, let me put it down here so you guys can actually visualize it. So look, now it's staying on the Y, I guess. No, let me put it up there. So now whenever I jump, it'll follow where I'm going. You see that? So that's locking the player Y. I don't use that too much, but if you combine X and Y, it's actually really interesting because what happens is, let's say we put it here. Now, oh wait, no, we have to put it in line with the trigger. Now it'll be under us, and we can just keep using it to jump higher and higher. So in a lot of levels, if you see me using like a block that's floating, I'll normally just have it, X, lock to player X, and then, have another move trigger where it'll move up, and that's kind of what it goes like. That's what I did in Ancidite, so at the end. So that's kind of, a real-life example of that. Okay, moving on. Now we have this easing stuff, which I will not talk about until the second tip, because I made a whole different tip for that. But now we have the move time. The move time is essentially how long it'll take for a block to move that distance. So if I have it move one block and I have like 0.2 or 0.5, let's say, it's going to move that distance really fast. You just saw it like jitter over. Now if I have it move in 10 seconds... Wait, what? Okay, what the heck? Okay. I'm still locked to player X. You'll see it's like barely moving. So the move time essentially combines with the two X and Y coordinates up here. If there's coordinates set, move 10, or like let's say move 30 on X, move 40 on Y. It will take 10 seconds for the block to move 10 on X and 40 on Y. And if it's 5 seconds, it'll take 5. If it's 1, it'll take 1. So it really just depends on how fast you want that block to move from point A to point B. That's really just what the move time is. Now we have the target group ID. That's essentially obvious. Whatever group you set the block you want to modify to, you just set the trigger to that, and therefore it will be paired with the block you set. Also, touch triggered is, let's say, there's just like square around it. Let's say you don't want the trigger to be activated unless it's touched by the player. Right now it will not be activated because I don't touch it, but if I move it down, when I touch it, it will be activated. And if there's a jump, you can see if I pass under it, nothing will happen, but if I jump, it will move. That's basically what touch trigger means. Spawn triggered, I don't really use a lot of spawn triggers. Spawn triggers are kind of like if you put the move trigger somewhere in the level, and then you put a spawn trigger where you want the move trigger to act, it would act. I don't know too much about spawn triggers, guys. Ask some of the like elite creators like Serpunge or Viper and people like that about spawn triggers. I don't know too much about them, but yeah, guys, those are the basics of the move trigger. Okay, guys, so the second tip I'm going to talk about is easing. Easing is really important, and it determines quite a few things. Let me just deselect that and reselect this as group 1. Easing is kind of the effect that the block gives when it moves. So let's set the move time here to like 2 seconds or something. And none, we can have no easing, and it's just going to move. Like, oh wait, no, hold on. I'm going to make it move 30 on Y in 2 seconds. Okay, no, I'm going to make it even faster. I'm going to do 1 second. Gotta make sure you guys can see this. I'll put it like over here. Okay, good. Now we won't touch it. So you can just see it like kind of glides up. But now we have a bunch of options. We have ease, we have elastic, bounce, exponential, sine, back, and that's it. So all this like ease in, ease out stuff is kind of like really finite stuff. But ease in will kind of like make it. You see how kind of like eased itself? It was like very smooth. Like that looks really nice. Ease in out will basically take the start of the movement and ease it, and the end of the movement and ease it. Ease in will only ease the beginning of the movement, and ease out will only ease the end of the movement. So you really can play around with ease in out. As you can see, like, since it's ease in, it took longer, to move. Because if I just did ease in out, it would already have been up there. But ease in kind of made it ease more towards the beginning. Now if I do ease out, it's gonna, you see how it started to just go normally and then it eased at the end. So that's kind of, I didn't really understand that at first, like ease in, ease out, like all that stuff. But it really just means the like the end of the movement and the beginning of the movement. So, elastic is kind of more like boingy, kind of, I guess. I don't know. Like it shoots up more and then in and out. I'm not going to go into all the detail for that. But then we have bounce, and I think elastic might actually do this as well, because sometimes with with these easing features, I'll try it with elastic. Okay, that takes forever. I'm gonna change it to like 0.5. No. Okay. Maybe I'll do 0.2. I just want to show you guys this. Yeah, so sometimes it'll launch you up, and in some cases, I don't think it'll do this with ease, because ease is kind of more like, oh, it might. Yeah, so it really depends, because some of these can actually launch you up. So if you see some people use that in levels, that's why, like, it'll bounce you up if you're on it when it comes up. I thought that was pretty cool feature, and I've used that in a few of my levels. Not too much. I used it in Kinetic a bit. I can't really recall when in my other levels, but yeah, so here's the, wait, okay, no, I'm selecting the wrong thing. So here's the bounce. I want to show you guys without being launched up. Kind of just bounces up, and then in, out, and all that stuff. Exponential, I believe this one, I guess this one kind of like is exponential with its speed. It'll like, exponential kind of is a little bit more like similar to elastic, but not really. Sine in, out. Sine I actually do like. Sine is kind of like just straight, like a, it's kind of like a rigid movement, but it's also smooth at the same time. And then back, I don't know what back means, but yeah, oh yeah, okay. Oh, back is like, okay, back is basically, as you can see, it'll like move, it'll be like it'll move down before it goes up. I used that in Ancidite. I did. Yeah, I used back out in Ancidite. I actually do like that. The only problem with that is, like, let's say you have, like in Ancidite, if you use the bounce thing and it goes up like 4 blocks, or if it goes up 3 blocks, you're going to see if it shoots up, like, there'll be a little space underneath when it comes up, because it goes down, up, and then goes back down. So it's like, kind of. Like, it just bounces all around. So you have to make sure there's like a 4th block under it to make it look good and doesn't look like there's empty space. That's basically what back does. So those are all the different easings. Just play around with what you guys like, the easings themselves, and then also like the in and out, and that's like very, very detailed. And if you have good easing, it makes the level look really, really good. Trust me, guys. Alright, guys, so the final tip is custom backgrounds. This is not a good custom background by any means, but in a lot of my levels, I had used custom backgrounds. Ancidite, Peanut Butter, no, Cycles of Life 2, custom backgrounds, they need to move. They need to follow the player. So a lot of these people make custom backgrounds, but, they're not really backgrounds. They're just details, but they in the background. So what you have to do, you have to select all the entities you want to be in your custom background. Let's add it to group 2, now that we already have a group 1. And let's place a move trigger. So, you may think, why does a custom background need to move if it's, the background? And the background doesn't move, it follows you. Well, that's exactly what it does. It follows you. You have to set it to follow X. Following Y is kind of weird. Some people use that. It looks kind of ugly, I think. When you jump, it'll like move up with you. Don't use lock to player Y unless it kind of looks good, but overall I highly discourage it. And this, for the move X, you don't need to put in any coordinates, you just need to set the time. So it'll lock to player X for however long you want. So if you want it for 6 seconds, it'll be set for 6 seconds. If you want it for 10, it'll be set for 10. If you want it for 1,000, it'll be set to 1,000, So that many seconds will be how long it stays. So let's just do 10. And let's play the level. And, this is not going to fill up the screen by any means at all. But you're going to see how it follows me. Actually, that did fill up the screen. Let me actually add more blocks further on to make sure that, we can actually have some time to view this amazement of a custom background that is like the best thing ever, you know, better than Serpunge and all that stuff. But yeah, and also, I'll get to this in a sec, but this is not really a move trigger tip, more of a aesthetic tip. But as you can see, look, it follows you. So because you set that follow player X, it will follow with the player. And that's why it looks like it's not moving, although it actually is, because the player is moving. So if the player is moving, the background has to move for both of them to look like they're not moving. But anyway, also what you could and should do is, if you saw when I was moving, kind of the stars on the edge were cut off. So what would be a good idea to do when you select the group, don't fade. And there's no apostrophe because, you know, there's no apostrophe in the Puseb font for some reason, but don't fade. Don't fade with a group will make sure that those do not get cut off. It won't make the fade happen, so it'll just kind of be like a clean thing on the outside. The stars will be cut off in a clean way. Yeah, now you can see like they're all there, nothing is cut off, because it kind of stopped like the little fade away effect on the sides. That's not really a move trigger effect, that's more of a custom background effect. I might make a 3 tips on custom backgrounds video, you guys never know. But yeah, guys, that's how you make a custom background with a move trigger. Alright, guys, so that is the 3 tips video on move triggers. Hopefully you found this useful. This might have been a little bit of a longer video. But basically the 3 tips we covered today are just the basics of the move trigger, all the different X and Ys and speeds and stuff like that, and the contents of the actual trigger interface itself. Then we moved on to how to actually move blocks with the easing and how different easings affect the aesthetic of the level. And then we moved on to the custom background ability to make the background you want follow you to make it look like it's not moving, and that's how to make a custom background. So guys, thank you very much for watching this 3 tips video. Once again, I apologize for not putting it out in a few weeks because of school. School starting up was definitely insane, and it still is insane, and I'm trying to stay on top of my work and make videos for you guys, but it is hard. I am very sorry, but I thank you for your patience, and I have a lot of big ideas planned for the future and the coming weeks, so hopefully you guys will be excited for that. But this is 3 tips on move triggers. If you found this useful, please drop a like and subscribe for more 3 tips if you want to learn more about Geometry Dash or anything. I made a 3 tips video on YouTube, so 3 tips on any topic will be coming your way. I'm going to try to get it out every Thursday from now on. If a few Thursdays I'll miss it, you know, I apologize for that, but, you know, I'm going to make a lot more of these, and hopefully you guys enjoy them and learn from them. That's my goal. Thanks for watching, guys. Goodbye.